A bad recommendation I hear all the time right now, especially playing baseball in the state of Texas, is that you need to play baseball 12 months a year. That's bad. If you think about it like this, there's three things that you can train as a person: your body, your craft, whatever your craft is, specifically now we're talking about baseball, and your mind. You have to have specific time for all three. Now, majority of baseball players will spend the most time on their craft. And I get that because it's a very skill dominated sport. And if you cannot hit, field, or catch the baseball, the other shit don't matter.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care how many times you can do a push-up or how fast you can run down to first base or how many whatever, right? If you cannot catch the baseball, throw the baseball, field the baseball, or hit the baseball, you are of no value on the baseball team.
Correct.
Now, once you have that sort of base level of craft down, you have to start divvying out some really solid time to your body and your mind. And so if we're playing baseball 12 years around, I cannot do a 1 to 2 month intense strength training program. Now, you should be working out 12 months out of the year, but in the midst of a college baseball season or a professional baseball season, it's very hard to get your lifts in. We're playing 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And so at that point, we're just maintaining and trying to stay really healthy. But there has to be a dedicated off season where you're just potentially maybe hitting in the cages, maybe doing a little bit of throwing just to keep your arm in shape. Maybe. I'm not an arm care specialist, so maybe I'm wrong. But I know that you should be going ham in the weight room, because if your body gets stronger, your legs, your hips, your core, your back, that's going to translate on the baseball field. Again, if you have an underlying base level of skill, everything is going to get enhanced. Now, again, you can't do that if you're training 12 months a year or playing games 12 months a year. That's insane. Stupid.
Yeah.
Why do major leaguers have an off season and then a spring training and then a season? So they can work on stuff. And now training your mind can be done all year round, but also there's a time where it needs to be dedicated as well. That's before your season, right? So you can get your level of routine and process and systems in place. So in the midst of the season, you just have to revisit those things when things feel a little off. You're like, okay, this is where my routine is. I'm going to visit it back. I'm going to rehash it, just like I need to take a few more swings off the tee to get my hand in the right place or whatever, because I feel a little off in the game. Same with your mind. And so there has to be dedicated areas for your body, your craft, and your mind. And if you're playing baseball 12 months a year, you're never going to be able to dedicate enough time for that. And you might be really good at your craft and you might be really good at playing the game of baseball, but you're going to reach a certain point where you're just not going to be elevated enough, where you can't hit the ball as far as you think you can. Your swing is perfect. Everything is launched right. Angle's good, but you don't have any fucking juice in your ass.
Yeah.
You haven't done a squat yet. You had no fucking pump, And then eventually when everyone becomes the same skill level as you and you're wondering why you don't have the advantage anymore, it's because you don't have the mental edge. You don't have the dog in you. You don't have the fight. You don't have the routine. You don't have the process. You don't know how to handle a game where you strike out 4 times and you got to show up the fucking next day. You got to show up the next day, but you don't know how. You're like, Coach, I got a sore throat. I can't go today. Why? Because you fucking K'd up 4 times yesterday. You look like a fucking joke. I've been there. We saw Adolis Garcia do it in the World Series.
Yeah.
He looked like he didn't know what baseball was. And then in his 5th at-bat, he dropped a bomb because he stayed in the game. He has a routine. He has a process. He figured it out. Sometimes we just can't hit the ball. Sometimes we just can't figure it out. That's a whole analogy for life. Sometimes things are just not going to go our way. But if we haven't trained other parts and dedicated enough time for those areas, we're not going to be able to pull ourselves back up. So if you're just grind 12 months out of the year playing baseball games, which you essentially can in Texas, because like we have 2 days where it's like under 30 degrees, and everything else you could probably go outside. That doesn't mean you should do it. And so that's a really bad recommendation that I hear all of the time coaching youth baseball now. And I'm doing my best to just reverse that and say, let's just do this here, focus on this here, this. So who knows if it'll change or not, but anyone who's a ball player listening to this, you should take that advice, because getting stronger, faster, more agile, and more mentally tough is never a bad decision. I just don't understand why that would be a bad choice.